Welcome friends to another episode of the Supermator Brothers. We are now covering episodes 19 and 20. Uh, so it is head of household, veto, um, eviction, and also new head of household that we get to see in episodes 19 and 20. I am Jaemeel Robinson, running solo for now. Unfortunately, Foster still sick, unable to attend. Foster, we're pulling for you. Hope you feel better. We're gonna get this party started. Dave might be joining us later on because he is running the Live Long and Podcast Picard finale uh, recap as we speak. But without further ado, let's get this started. So, previously on Big Brother, Kuzi was head of household, and we were left with two people nominated after the safety chain and veto, which was Santina and Renee. And Santina was the one walking out the door. But that left us with a full week completed after a couple of days and one specific night. And we have to crown a new head of household. Kuzi, of course, cannot play. So they have a head of household competition, which is I don't know how Josh Foster would feel about this, but I found it interesting. It reminds me of a game if you ever play like the Jackbox collection. I think it might be called Nailed It or something like that, where uh, in this case you have everyone choosing a drink, and one of the drinks has poison in it, and the people have to guess who has the poison. So if you are chosen as the one who has poison, drinking the poison, you are eliminated. If no one chooses you, you get to pick a person to be eliminated. That's how it goes. And you can see how each one has its own different theme, right? So this one, the first one is called a dirty nomtini, which I think is pretty clever. Um, Whenever they have a Big Brother event, they should provide the instructions on how to make the different drinks. So, first round, um, people drink, right? And then everyone's watching their reactions to find out, okay, who made, a face, because the poison drink tastes wildly different than every other, right? So, in the first round, 3 voted for Shania, 2 voted for Anika, 1 voted for Claudia, 1 voted for Hope. Claudia picked correctly, and Hope was eliminated, right? So, second round, one less person, different drink. This time it was the bloody backstab. We had 3 vote for Renee, 2 vote for Ty, and 1 for Anika. Anika being the one who had the poison drink. Renee chose correctly. All right. A third round, kind of spoiled it, but 2 voted for Daniel, 1 voted for Renee, 1 voted for Shania, and 1 voted for Ty. Claudia picked Ty. Ty was eliminated. Now, the thing that Claudia was doing in the first 3 rounds was she was constantly choosing Ty, because the way the rules go, as long as the person who has poison is picked, they are eliminated. So uh, there's no real way for Ty to defend against this. There's nothing you can do. You got the poison drink. Sorry, you got chosen. You're done. Anyway, so we go into the fourth round. This time, you had 2 on Renee and 2 for Daniel, and Renee was the one who was figured out to have had the poison. And then in the final round of drinks, right, we had it was Daniel, Claudia, and Shania being the 3 left. 2 votes for Daniel, right, that were done from Claudia and Shania, and then 1 for Claudia, which was done by Daniel. But Shania was the one who had the poison, and in this case, she was the one who was able to pick out who she wanted eliminated, which was of course Daniel. So then we were left with, um, sorry, just to point out that last drink was called a backdoor Bellini. Just interesting. Um, so in this case, they went down to a final tiebreaker question between Claudia uh, and Shania, and uh, the question was how many balls were put in the slide competition, like earlier on the slide you had to throw it into the hoop thing. So uh, there was Shania picked 520 balls, and Claudia picked 613. The actual answer was 615. Claudia winning head of household, only two off. Great job, Claudia. And that's how the cookie crumbles in the most thing. Claudia's the new HOH. The girly pops finally have power, and our shortened week begins. So, uh, obviously, Claudia and Renee, they have a conversation about exactly what they're looking at. A lot of the details from chain of safety are coming up as uh, something that they need to look at and try to see where they are positioned in the house. It was really eye opening for them. They felt that they were considered at the bottom of the house, and uh, you know they're gonna position themselves that way, that they need to think about their next move and what they're going to do. So uh there's a lot of conversations. Claudia always does a great job, or at least presented on the show, as like communicating to the different individuals. um Okay, hold on a second. Jeff Mader, one of the Mader brothers, is sending me a message for the link. Sorry, I'm paying attention to the show, not necessarily to um, getting people in it. But hold on a second, Jeff. Let me see if I can get you that link um, in a second. It's pretty difficult for me when I am in the middle of the show. But for you, I will definitely uh, get you on. Couple seconds. Now, obviously, when I get send Jeff the link, uh, we'll take a second because there is always a delay. But that's how it goes. Sorry. There you go. There you go. So we continue. We continue on. So Claudia and Ty having a conversation. Ty's giving him his pitch, and in typical BBCAN, uh, uh, you know, tradition, he brings out the jelly beans, the jubes, and presents the scenario to Claudia to show that he is good for her game. All right, let me add the man to the chat, to the group. Sir Mater of Jeff, welcome.
It's good to be welcomed. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm all
Uh,
right.
I was I was asked this morning as a favor to you, but also to watch this show during the Leaf game, which I did.
Did the Leafs win?
Yeah, well, they're winning. It's almost over. They're up 7-2, and yeah, it's over.
Still a chance.
There's still a chance. Yeah,
Still a chance.
goal a minute.
Well, thank you for joining. Greatly appreciated. Uh, but you know, you get to see a good episode of BB Can.
Oh, well, I watched like tonight's episode, but are you recapping like
This
yesterday?
is the previous episode. This is a previous episode. That's
Okay, well,
Wednesday's
walk me
episode.
through it because I didn't watch that one, but I did watch the recap.
Okay. Well, honestly, what I'm going to cover is really what you need to take.
Okay.
So, uh, Ty is here presenting his jubes to Claudia, breaking down, what is best for her game, and he shows, three groups. So there's four on one side, which is to represent the crown, and then a three on the other side to represent the girly pops, and then Ty, being the lone soldier, is there on the side.
Of
right?
course, he's blue.
Of course, he's blue. He's a special boy,
Right.
and he indicates that
Now, wait, wait,
if
wait. Who's the outlet? Who's the plug? And
that's it, you know what I had that exact
Arissa?
thought, that exact thought process that like if someone was there in the room, they would go, "Who's the outlet?" And it's like, oh, jeez.
It's Arissa
If
waiting for them.
oh my gosh, it's Jonathan in this game.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's Jonathan. It's Chris
um,
Hemsworth. That's who it is.
Look, I'm gonna gush about him in a bit. Gush and also slam this dude in a bit, but that's neither here nor there. So the thought process from Ty's perspective is if they if he gets eliminated per se, then it's 4-on-3, but actually 4-on-2 because Claudia will not be able to compete in the next HOH, and then they'll be easily picked off, right? But right, if they eliminate someone from Kuzi's side, right, then it will be 4-on-3, and they will be in a power position to ensure that they have the proper votes to eliminate the person next week.
Or you
Because
could look at
one
it this
person.
way.
Okay, go ahead.
It's 3-on-3, and Ty's now the swing vote. What a coincidence that he would love that position.
Yes, and then he can yell out "ball game" again,
Right.
which he loves to do.
Right. And
So
and he likes to go baby.
baby, yes. Uh, so Claudia doesn't really say anything. She goes on her Wendy's lunch or breakfast. I guess they consistently have it at breakfast with Shania, her ride or die. And who does she have as her special guest? Jeff, do you know?
No,
Did
I
you know?
didn't. I didn't know. No, who was it?
You're gonna laugh. It's
Chris
like they couldn't find someone. So who did they get?
Chris Hemsworth.
Topaz.
Oh, Topaz.
Topaz. So they could show that sequence of her screwing over her alliance member and guaranteeing that he doesn't win, like she did in Big Brother 1, where she did not vote for the right person.
Well,
So,
yeah. I mean that best play ever.
best play ever, right? So I I I always wonder. Sometimes you have genuine reactions to like people meeting, like Santina meeting Kiefer. I can understand it's an emotional moment because you're like, there are only few indigenous people who played this game, and you get to see the other one, most recent one that you might have felt a very big connection with,
Mm-hmm.
right? But like Claudia seemed like, oh hey, it's Topaz. like
Yeah,
I know the script is I'm
they both
supposed to be excited.
they both did the same body language, like like they
Yeah.
like put your hands up, kind of like you're excited, but you didn't get them all the way up, or you didn't like you kind
Yeah,
of just went
I thought it was gonna be koozie. I bet Topaz would have said. Anyways, it was neither here nor there. It was more of the advertisement for Wendy's than anything. Like Foster and I said that we were gonna eat Wendy's breakfast one time to actually taste it because neither of us have actually had their breakfast before.
It's not
But
very
now I've gotten to the point of the amount of advertisements in this show that I'm now negative towards Wendy's. I don't want Wendy's anymore. Right? I'm sick of it.
I don't blame you.
Sick of seeing it. I don't care about your cinnamon sticks, your pancake cinnamon sticks thing. I don't care about your breakfast baconator, right? It's just no, thank you.
Nor should you.
Okay, so she has her breakfast with Shania. They talk about the same things that they've talked about and should talk about, which is not really important. Look at the safety chain. It's us now. We have some power. We got to think about who we want to eliminate. Are we going to get? So Hope is one of the people, but I don't know who's going to be. We can go for Ty, right?
Who's the girl on the couch? What's her name?
Shania.
Shania. Okay, so and Renee and Claudia, right? They're all
Yes.
together, right?
They're the girly pops.
Okay, and then the other side of the house is what? Koozie, I guess was Hope.
So technically,
Daniel.
the crown was Kuzi, Hope, Daniel, Anika, and Jonathan.
Okay.
All right, that's the crown.
So Jonathan's gone. Anika is still in the house, right? So
Anika's still in the house.
it's Anika, Kuzi, and
Daniel.
Daniel, really.
Yes.
And then Hope was kind of like the wild card, and Ty was also kind of a wild card.
Yes.
Right.
Hope was a part of the crown and Crown Strong, but at the
He's
same
wild.
time, sorry,
He's a wild card. You don't know what
yes,
that guy's gonna do in any given. He's gonna be like, I'll put him on the block. I don't, you can't trust him to be
he
like
keeps volunteering himself on the block, and then the one time he didn't volunteer, he gets put on the block and stays on it. Great job, dude. Right? That's one of the problems, right? When people get too comfortable with putting you on the block, right? Your game is practically done. Okay? Your was it Spencer Clausen, the moving company dude that was on the block like forever, every single week. It was just there.
Well, it's just
Right?
yeah. Well, and he was never a threat.
Yeah, he never had any power.
No.
And in the girly plops, Claudia is winning competitions. Shanae has won one clutch one, and we'll see at the end who won the next one. So we end up with our nominations. It's Ty and Hope, blah blah blah. Right. So we go into our veto. So Hope gets Adika, Ty gets Shania, and Claudia gets house guest choice. Now, the understanding is that the girly plops and the crown are on a ceasefire, right? And their main objective is to get rid of Ty. So, Kuzi's like, well, she has to pick me. Like, it makes no sense to pick anyone else. I'm the one who's won competitions the next most. She picks Renee, the person who has won nothing and has been consistently in last place this entire game, right?
But turns out, like, okay, I saw like the whole narrator, giving the same kind of trash to this move, but and I don't mean to jump ahead, but who wins HOH after this eviction?
True, but I think she won HOH because Kuzi slipped on a banana peel.
Well, that did happen, but yeah, you get my point though. Like,
yes,
it's not every competition is balancing balls on hoops.
Very true, but chances were this was going to be a physical comp, especially after two. What is it? There were technically three not mental kind of comps in a row. Right? It was going to be a physical comp. Right? And girl can't do physical.
Yeah,
okay?
no, they should have played the odds. Yeah,
right.
But yes,
Especially, I understand why Kuzi was like, "What's going on?" Especially with what they talk about. But from Claudia's point of view, I know Renee, if she were to win, she would do what I want her to do, as opposed to if I pick Kuzi. So,
and if Kuzi wins the veto, and then takes Ty off the block, does like a switcheroo. Not that she would do that.
She wouldn't take Ty off the block. She would take Hope off the block.
Okay, say she took Hope off the block, right? And then, all of a sudden, the person that she wants to renom was clearly Kuzi, I think, the whole time. I was going to draw random gummies, and I think that was all nonsense from Claudia. I watched this Claudia girl the whole episode, Jaemeel, and I saw a very indecisive, bad player that was like asking other people, like, should I go talk to him? Should I go tell Kuzi? What do you think? What should I do? The whole episode. And I was just like, who does this girl have a plan of her own? She's in like the final 8.
The sad thing is, she's one of the better players this season.
I know. And I was like, Amanda was down. We were watching a bit of it before, like right before the Leaf game started. And I was like, do you not see how bad these players are? The only player I see as any good is Kuzi. And then the rest of them kind of suck.
Like, Kuzi's, okay, folks, I'm sorry to say, I'm enjoying Kuzi. Kuzi isn't winning this game unless everyone screws up badly, because there's no way. It's like a consensus. Everyone's like, who's playing the best game? Kuzi. Coming out of the jury, everyone's like Kuzi.
So why eliminate Hope?
to keep the peace, which makes no sense because once Kuzi's gone, like the only person on the other side that has won is is Daniel. He won one competition, right? And
Mhm.
some people don't even know that he won it. So from their perspective, he's not won anything. Anika hasn't won anything, right? You got Hope, who you can win out against because there's too many mental comps that he would have to go through, right? And he's not winning those, right? So
Mhm.
the only thing you have to worry about is Ty, really, right? But Daniel has a very understated game, but it's an understated game if he is the person behind the throne of power. If Kuzi's in a powerful position, Daniel's in a great spot. But as of late, Kuzi can't win everything herself, right? And Hope isn't winning anymore, right? And everyone keeps like messing up. So she's like on an island, right? Anyways, Renee gets picked. Kuzi goes to Claudia. It's like, do you not understand what you just did? Did you? What's going on? She's also great being expressive. She's a great narrator. And they never put her in a position where she has to be dumb by repeating stuff. She's never the person who's like explains the challenge, right? They
No.
give that to like the Hopes and the Anikas and the Shaneas and the Renees, right?
Yeah. Yes. She's a good TV Big Brother player character.
Yes.
They need to cast more people like her, and like even the what was the narcissist name that quit the game? The
Vanessa?
Zach.
Oh, Zach. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that
I
guy
believe
was
both of them were narcissists in my opinion, man.
what who tied to.
No, Vanessa. Well, Ty
Oh,
is definitely a narcissist, but Vanessa also was extremely high on herself. And anyways, I
my
like her
point
as a person, but she was still a narcissist.
my
Anyways,
point is you need to have a few of those players and less of the G shucks. I'm just happy to be here, people. You
the
know,
Hope.
yeah, like Hope is like that little dance he did when he got evicted. I was like, this is everything that's wrong with reality TV today. And Hope seems like a nice guy and everything. And you do need like those hopes, but like there's too many hopes.
Yeah,
The Claudia's HOH tonight was painful to watch. Painful.
she's like, oh, I'm ruffling feathers, and I'm like, you're supposed to ruffle feathers. You're
Yeah.
HOH,
Yeah,
right?
you
Like,
also you target the feather you want to ruffle, and then you shake it. What did Kuzi do when she was HOH? Did she go, "Oh God, what am I gonna do?" No, she didn't do that.
and regardless, and that's why I think she's well respected regardless of it's the other side, because everything she does, it seems to have intent and clear intent, right?
Yes, and
So
then and
and
then
then
she and she's able to call bullshit out, like
yes,
or even if it's not bullshit, it's like in she can twist the narrative. Like she did it tonight with Claudia, where Claudia was like, "So I'm gonna have to put you up, and I feel really, really, really bad about it. But I didn't know what to do. I was gonna drug gummies, but then I decided against that. And then, like,
Daniel came to me about chain of safety,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
she's like, this is ridiculous. If you're gonna put me up, none of
yeah.
this.
Yeah, and she was like, yeah, exactly that. And she also said to her, you know, don't beat around the bush, don't just like, act like, this was, I had to do it, didn't mean to, didn't want to do it, but had to do it. No, you're putting me up for a reason,
Yeah.
you know. And I just think it was silly that
I think
she was
Kuzi
playing
would
that
have
way.
respected her a lot more if she was just upfront about it. Just like
Yeah,
that's why she respects Ty, even though she's against Ty. She
yeah,
constantly goes back to respect him because at the end of the day, he does everything where he's like, "This is what I'm doing, and it's gonna be thing. You don't like it, I don't care." Right? All
yeah,
this like, oh, um, oh, I don't mean to hurt your feelings. Yes, this is a game and everything. If it's a game, then you could just talk to me like a person,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Don't,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sorry. Daniel came to me and everything, chain of safety. And she's like, she talks
Yeah.
about it later on. She's like, the chain of safety stuff is BS, right? Because that was a plan that we made, we put together, we enacted. We wanted Santina and Ty on the thing. I was head of household. I started the chain. We started the chain for a reason. What do you believe more? That Kuzi picked Hope first, right? Or that Daniel went out of his way to pick Shania? No, right? Kuzi picked Hope first for a specific reason, so he had to pick the Anika and Daniel before he picked Ty or not Shania, Santina. That was specifically done, right? And the fact that Claudia could not see that and tries to use that as an excuse is pretty weak, and that's why Kuzi's calling BS on it, right? And then
Yeah.
Daniel getting angry later on to Anika saying, Kuzi's trying to take credit. I could have not done what she told me to do. Well, that's the whole point of being not having power. If you're in power and you tell someone to do something and they do it, it's not your move. It's the person who's in power's move who told you to do it. If you go against it, that's your move and your consequences, right? That's how it goes. So unless you're willing to get power, which she's only had once, right? And that was an invisible HOH, like you're full of shit, honestly.
Yeah, and like she said something to like Claudia, like I protected you when I had power. Now you're going back on that. And she's like, and she said something like, your actions speak louder than your words, and like and I was just like, yeah, she's like, and then she just like walked out of the room on her, and that was great. That was pretty
And
great
then she
too.
goes to the camera and she's like, she's calling a game. Well, I'm playing a game too,
Oh yeah.
I'm not crying, folks. I'm trying to give her a guilt trip.
But like it was comical. Like Claudia's like, I already gotta go hug Ty while he's playing pool. Okay, I'm
Oh,
gonna have
jeez.
koozie. Like, and
Should I
everyone
go
just like the door closes and it's just like screw that girl.
should I go say congratulations to Ty? Just go and say congratulations to him. Whose permission you're asking
Yeah,
for?
yeah.
Anyways, we got a comment in our comments saying Hope was the best of the crown at his days, so mental cops would have been good for him too. I would have to agree. Lakiki, Miss Dot, C Dot. I would disagree, and I'll tell you why. Yes, definitely. Hope was the best in terms of his days. The problem is, Hope, bless his heart, was still a space cadet, right? And like, whenever critical thinking came into play, I always have to question it because of what he's done consistently throughout the game, right? So even though in practice he was the best with his days, I don't know, right? When it came to the actual competition, if he would pull through. That's just how I feel about the matter. All right.
Mhm.
So we continue on. Right? I love this. She's like, why, why Renee? Anyway, so we have the comp, right? Which is uh, they have to use two pieces of rope and there's a ball, and they have to use the tension in the rope to transport the balls, to roll the balls to on top of the poles and kind of release the tension so it sits on there. They have 9 balls that they have to complete. We pretty earlier on we pretty see that Renee is doing terrible on it. She wasn't the worst though. I think she got 1 or 2. Shania was the worst. She got 0. Uh, so it came down to Hope and Ty, right? And Ty pulls through again.
Look at my muscles.
and the best moment was this where you see the two of them and they're like shucks. Right, because they know what that means. So Claudia starts kissing babies and going to see Hope and everything, and this is a lot of neither here nor there, right? Daniel does his whole conversation piece about the chain of safety. I understand getting ahead of it, but of course everyone's like a leaky faucet. So of course, right, Kuzi found out, right? And had that conversation. And then, of course, Kuzi's reaction, of course, got back to Daniel because everyone leaks everything. So, conversation, as I mentioned before, where Kuzi kind of gave her hell about it, right? Regardless, we end up.
Did they go to the same tailor before like they're wearing like the same like pattern and colors?
So, okay, I have the sinking suspicion that this is Kuzi's, and Hope is wearing the top, and she's
Yeah.
wearing the bottom.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense because they're very similar like colors and patterns.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. Um, the vote is pretty typical. Ty votes for Hope, and then everyone else votes for Kuzi.
No, the other way around.
Sorry. Yes, you're right. Sorry. Well, to stay. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
See, I was gonna pull a Topaz, but don't worry. I would have made sure I understood it.
I'm voting for who I want to evict from the final two.
Yes. And then Hope, in typical Hope fashion, where is it? Oh, where is it? Oh no, this is Anyways, that doesn't matter. I'll do it out of order. So Claudia K comes and talks to the entire group about the situation of them being on the block, and it's very awkward. Kuzi does not give her any type of peace in terms of the tension. Doesn't say don't worry about it or anything like that. The tension remains high, which I love. Like, if someone's gonna put you on the block and they have that type of temperament that Claudia has, make them feel it. Make them feel it. You're under pressure. They're under pressure. Right.
Yeah.
So they have another conversation again. Same thing. It was like the same conversation, right? It didn't really go anywhere, right? We get the jury house, and we see Dan. Okay, I'm skipping Dan. Anyways,
yeah, we don't need to talk about Dan,
Yeah.
but let's talk about Chris Hemsworth.
Yes, Jonathan.
Boss bottled.
This dude needs to be on, like, whoever has any type of brand needs to pick this dude up. Look at that jawline.
Yeah, it's
Seriously, like,
yeah,
this profile, this dude should be on cover.
I thought the same thing. He should sell some cologne.
Some cologne, like
maybe a nice suit.
Hudson Bay this man should be your brand, like, leader. Right?
Didn't they had a model with the big beard of, like, I think he was in season 2, Kenny, I think his name was.
I think so.
Yeah, this guy's better,
much better. He's extremely likable. I like everyone who has had conversations with this dude says that he is the nicest person. Taryn from Rum Has a Podcast said that this dude would be his friend because he's just so nice. In the opposite corner is Santina, still crying. In interviews, Santina says that she does not regret anything, which to me is absurd because if you didn't win, there should be regrets. But two, this is kind of bad. If you were HOH and you get eliminated next week, wasn't a good HOH, friend. Wasn't a good HOH. Right? So my issue with Jonathan, and I kind of mentioned this last week, was Jonathan should have put in work in having Santina become a member of the Crown, part of that group. In addition, Hope, right? Hope. Oh. Hope. Sorry, I was just reading a comment. I'll get to that comment in a second. Hope tried working with Santina after Jonathan was gone, but told Santina to talk to the Crown, the remaining members of the Crown, which is the Shady Bunch, Daniel, Anika, and Kuzi, and say, hey, let's make a 4-person alliance, but don't include Hope, right? Which if you're Anika, Daniel, and Kuzi, why would you take this person who you have no connection to really at face value? If Hope brought her in, that would be different. He could vouch for her. He can say that this is my person that will work with us. Jonathan also endorsed her, right? But no, they didn't. Santina gets eliminated, a possible ally that they could have used against the other side of the house in Ty, right? And you know that we're in the position that they're in because Ty would have tried to get Santina out before anyone else. The girly pops would have tried to get either Ty or Santina out before anyone else, right? And now you've taken those pieces off the board, Hope um, and Santina, and what are you left with, right?
Mhm.
Renee is HOH. Spoiler, not really a spoiler. We're going to get to it at the end of the episode, anyways. So she's either going to put up Ty or the crown, right? So your options are limited, okay? Right? And if Ty wins HOH next week, whew, whew, bad news. Right? Anyways, as I mentioned before, Daniel complains to Anika, about the whole safety chain and Kuzi's blowing up their game. I mentioned previously that uh, Daniel has really been working on the side that we really haven't seen on the show, trying to build relationships and kind of positioning himself against Kuzi while Kuzi was in power, which is just a
It
great
seemed,
move.
it seemed like that the case that Daniel was like shutting his mouth whenever Kuzi was in the room.
Yeah,
That's what I noticed.
yeah. So even though the Shady Bunch is 3 people, Daniel and Nika have a final 2, right? So uh, the way that Daniel has been positioning himself is he's been telling people that Anika and Kuzi have a final 2 and he's on his own. So that's why you had the Roberts and the other individuals who were coming to Daniel, right? And thinking that Daniel will always support them because they felt that they were picking him up as an extra number. So we see this, they're starting to sprinkle the ending game into the episode. So that's why we're seeing more Daniel and Nika talking and having conversations, especially against Kuzi. So we also see Hope give a pitch to Ty
This
about,
this set looks like a set from like General Hospital or like like it's I don't know something about it. It's like very what's soap opera like
yeah,
just the way it looks. It's very
yeah,
like over dramatic, but it looks super fake.
yeah. People don't have that many Encyclopedia Britannicas, okay? That's
Right, right.
right. um,
I just laugh when I see this room. I see the dog. That's a judge.
um, yeah, it does. It actually looks like the set for Night Court, really.
Night Court. Yeah, that's a better
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Uh,
Anyway,
anyways, Hope goes to Ty. He gives his proposition of them working together and getting the remaining members of the crown to kind of team up, so it's 4 against 3. Once again, I didn't believe for a single second that Ty actually believed this, because when has Hope ever shown loyalty to Ty, right?
mm-hmm.
And if he were to go with them, right, and somehow position himself as part of their side, right, he once again is going to be a target. So anyways, you have Hope kind of speaking to the Anika and Daniel once again, them together, and I just like Daniel's so dismissive sometimes, and he's like, I'm not really going to say anything, or confirm at this time. Um, we all know, like, at this point, we know that Hope is not staying, right? They've never given us any indication. They try their best to kind of, will they, won't they? No, it's pretty clear. Hope is gone, right?
They don't really explain why. And then why take the shot? And why, if you're Claudia, put up Kuzi? Why not just put up Daniel? And then it doesn't matter. Freaking Hope's going home anyway.
Because they feel that they'll get rid of Daniel and then it will be Ty Kuzi. There's always the belief that Ty and Kuzi are working together strong. That's the general fear. So if they leave Hope, Kuzi, and Ty in the game, that's a 3-strong comp threat trio that can just run through the game.
Yeah, but they had the numbers in the vote, didn't they?
They
say
did.
say if they put up Daniel, it's still a 3-2 vote.
No, it wouldn't be a 3-2 vote. They would feel that Ty would vote out Daniel and keep Hope.
Okay, but then Kuzi, let's say, did the same thing and votes out Hope, which we don't think would happen, right? Wouldn't Kuzi be more likely to vote out Daniel?
It's not what would happen for reals. It's what they think will happen. Right? Because the safety chain, and they're like, Kuzi and Hope are close because that's why she picked him first. And it's like, there's a fundamental misunderstanding of what happened with the safety chain, and that's why they're in the position.
Mm-hmm.
The reads are wrong, and that's why.
Okay.
Right? So Hope gets his moment in the sun and gets everyone to do a choreographed dance, which is great. You spent more time with the choreographed dance when you could have been campaigning to stay in the game. Good job.
And you got a vote on your side. You just had to swing 2 people.
Which should have been the girly pops.
Right, and it should have made sense to get rid of Kuzi. She's a big threat. All you had to go around was say, Kuzi's going to beat you. I'm going to vote for her at the end. So, even if you sit beside her, I'm voting for her. And you're losing.
Like, I am not voting for. If you go against Kuzi, I'm not voting for you. Simple, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I don't believe that. I think he's just saying that to thing. Hope wouldn't lie about this, okay?
No.
And then when he sees Arissa, what does he say?
He said exactly
I'm voting
that.
for Kuzi.
Like, no. He went Kuzi, or he did something like
that. Queen Kuzi. Kuzi's not like, if Kuzi wins this game, all of y'all idiots. All of y'all are idiots, right? She is like, we have gone through how many opportunities now? If they don't get rid of her this week, there's no hope for these people. She should be eliminated, right? She should. Anyways, Hope is gone, right? We get before and after as our HOH competition, and we do see a new head of household. So let me kind of break down how it went round by round. First round, everyone got it right. Second round, Shania, Renee, and Kuzi got it right. Third time, everyone got it right. Fourth time is where Kuzi messed up. Shania, Renee, Ty, and Daniel got it right. Kuzi changing her decision in the last moment. Fifth, everyone was right. Sixth, Ty, Renee, Kuzi, Daniel got it right. Seventh, didn't matter because Kuzi and Renee both picked the right answer. Renee winning. Renee, as you do HH, and she's like, I knew I would get one. I knew it. They're like, well, a broken clock is twice, right today. So she won. She is the head of household, and
that's genuine shock right there.
Yeah. Well, she was shocked to begin with. Like, up to that last question, she's like, "Oh my gosh, I think I'm gonna win." She reminds me of another competitor who was in a game show who, for a brief second, thought they were gonna win. Myself, but unfortunately, in my case, I was wrong and I lost. I started to tear up when I thought I won. I'm like, I'm gonna win this. I didn't think I was gonna do it. But Renee
is kind of like a mix of RC from Survivor and like a little bit of Liza. Like I don't know. Those are the vibes I kind of get.
You're hurting my feelings because I'm a huge RC fan.
I liked RC. I just.
But I don't like Renee. I was kind of pulling for at the beginning, but she just was like a walking calamity. Like like everyone says that the person who's playing the worst game is Renee.
Yeah, I can believe that from what I've seen.
I'll tell you why.
That Claudia's pretty bad though.
No, Renee's worse.
Right.
I'll tell you why. last week, so before Jonathan was eliminated last week, there was a group meeting with like all the women with with exception of Santina, right? So the girly pops were there, and then Kuzi and Anika came down because they want to talk to the girls to work together to get rid of Ty, right? And really cement something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And moment that Kuzi and Anika start talking about working together, Renee's like, well, you know what? I didn't appreciate when everyone started crying when Jonathan went up. You know, no one cried when I went up. And it's like, oh my, what are you doing? Like, that's not important. Don't talk about old shit. We're talking about what we can do for each other in this moment. And every single time Anika and Kuzi tried moving the conversation back and focus in on the reason why they came down for,
Mm-hmm.
Renee would just bogart it about herself and her situation, about how she felt and, felt disrespected. And it's like, stop making this about you, right?
Right.
And then Santina shows up and then it completely gets derailed. The whole thing falls apart, right? Jonathan goes home, and nothing nothing came of it, right? Nothing came of it. And look, honestly, as it stands right now, if Ty makes it against anyone but Claudia, Ty's gonna win, right?
Even
Because
Kuzi?
no, I'm talking about Ty.
No,
Ty's
no. If
winning
Ty
against
if Ty sits against Kuzi,
no, Kuzi would win.
right?
If,
And
if
so, other than that, he'd win.
no, against Claudia, I think he would lose
Why?
because Claudia would have the girly pop, so that's 3 votes. He would have Dan, that's 4, right? Most likely Jonathan, 5, right?
But why do you automatically, just because they're in alliance together doesn't mean they're gonna
The
think?
girly pops are going to vote for Claudia. They're not.
Okay, okay,
They
fair enough, I guess.
automatically,
But
automatically, Kuzi, right, respects Claudia's game ish, but also respects Ty. I think that she would vote for Ty. I think that Daniel C would vote for Ty. I feel like Anika will vote for Ty. Hope will vote for Ty.
it would be close.
I still think Jonathan will vote for Claudia. I think Dan will vote for Claudia. That's 5, right? And then
Right.
Santina will probably not vote for Ty. I think out of all the girls Santina has stated that the only person she would vote for is Kuzi to win. And then she got probed a little bit more. It's like, besides Kuzi, if Kuzi's not there, Claudia, right, was the next person. That's 6 votes. She's winning. But if it's Ty against Anika, Ty wins. Ty against Shania, Ty wins. Versus Renee, Ty wins. Against Daniel, it depends on if Daniel does stuff at the end of the game. He can make a good case for himself that he focused on safety and then put himself in the position to win. We'll see. But in order of like who can win, Kuzi's number 1 still, even with not being HOH. Then Claudia, then Ty, then Daniel, then I don't think people want to vote. anyone
Right.
else,
Right.
anyone else. It's just that kind of season where it's really clear who the top player is,
Mhm.
and sometimes the top player doesn't win, and I think we might be leading into that with this season.
That often happens when the rest of the players are kind of meh.
Mm. It's been a mishmash of a season, right? So
Right.
this was the closest there could have been an all girls alliance, and uh, and it just kept falling in their fingertips. But we're at the end, and there's only 2 guys left. There's 2 guys left, and then there's 5 women.
And so what you're saying is a guy is going to win.
um,
Possibly.
Honestly, I don't want it to happen, but it's possible.
The women will eat each other.
When I heard Kuzi says I'm going after Claudia, I'm like, oh Lord.
Okay, can we speculate? What does Renee do? Does she put up Ty and
She puts up Ty and Kuzi.
Kuzi, right? And then Ty wins veto, predictably. And then she has to put up Daniel, right?
Uh, uh, no, she'll put up Anika, I think.
Okay, so then a girl
No.
goes home.
Oh yeah, a girl will go home. Girl's gonna go home, and then it's gonna be they're gonna do a double. I think maybe next week.
No triple to get rid of that in this stupid show.
They too many people left the game for them to do a triple.
Right. One guy walked off because he was going to get evicted anyway. That was something
Well, no, he tells like, oh no, he walked off for the principle of the matter. The principle of the matter.
The most ridiculous thing I've ever watched, where he was trying to quit, but also wanted Ty to quit. Dragged Ty into the DR room. Ty for some reason went with him and then was like, nah, I'm not going. Which it was the right thing. I was like, all right, at least you have some sense. You're gonna listen to this guy. He's quitting. What are you doing?
The best thing was Dan S. When he's like, we're gonna walk off, right? And Dan S doesn't know what's going on. He's like, we're what? What? What's going on? No, I'm not doing that. And Zach has been going on a lot of shows.
Oh, has he?
Doing his side of the story.
It wasn't fair.
They didn't show everything, you know. And I'm like, you're lucky that feeds didn't happen this year, because you can kind of sell that grift on that idea.
Well, that's the problem. Is it's not Big Brother without feeds. I mean, it's
true. And and a lot of people, you hear from a lot of the long-standing people that watch the show or cover the show, they're like, Kuzi is possibly one of an all-time great player, right? And we're missing so much of her content because we have no feeds.
Yeah.
Right.
And who knows? No sense. Why does it cost money for the company to send the feeds onto the internet? Seriously,
get a bunch of interns and stuff.
Yeah.
They can control the narrative.
Makes no sense. Yeah, that's all it's for. It's controlling the narrative. It's not money.
We'll see.
It's because they have 30 different sponsors and they don't want anything coming down the
anything
pipe,
negative. Anyone going, oh, Wendy's again? I hate Wendy's.
Yeah. Or
just that clip just running constantly.
I don't like any of the furniture from the brick.
Can I just get a cash equivalent?
Yeah, I like an Ashley home furniture kind of man.
Yeah, I could dig that. Yeah. That's it. That's it really for this show. Look, I like the idea of a lot of the things that we saw in terms of the HOH challenge. They're still doing a pretty decent job in terms of the challenges, sprinkling some old and new, high production value in those regards. But the gameplay is frustrating a lot of the time, and I'm trying to balance. I'm trying to I like Kuzi so much that I'm like, maybe it's just clouding my judgment of how I feel about this game. But then when I see gameplay from other people that's so wishy-washy, it's like, I guess I have no choice but to root for Kuzi, because who else am I rooting for? Right? I don't want to root for Ty. Right? Ball game. Oh, everyone hates Ty, but he could still win. Which is
the guy that was this close from walking out of the DR room was Zach.
Yeah,
this close, and then he's like, "Nah."
Yeah, it's just too many. There's too many goats. There's too many goats left in this game.
Yeah,
which is crazy to me.
Yeah, and it peaked too early. I was saying I wanted Zach to stay that week just because. I was like, this is great TV. I said to Amanda, I was
you want the back and forth. You want the back and forth.
Yeah, but then that was what was so great about that. It reminded me so much of that season with the first one with Rachel Riley. Can you imagine that Zach had went to jury and then they sicked him on the house as a punishment for the house for 24 hours? It would have been fantastic.
Yeah. Or if there was a battle back and he came back, right? Everyone would have been like, oh, this he would be enemy number one, and that would be great. That would
a Zach attack, they could have called it.
Yeah, you got a Zach attack. But Jeff, thank you for joining
Yeah, man.
for this recap. Uh, Greatly appreciated. Foster, we wish you well. Hope you get better. Uh, there's a seat always waiting for you whenever you decide to come back. Our schedule. Uh, we have Big Brother on Tuesday, another episode of Big Brother on Thursday next week. But in 3 weeks' time is going to be finale night. And Jeff and I haven't figured out exactly, sorry, Dave and I haven't figured out how exactly that's going to go. Picard's going to be over, but we're going to a live screening of the finale party. So I don't know if we're going to do it live there or we might do it after, but more details will be provided as things come up. Um, so yes, Super Mario Brothers. We also cover Survivor on Wednesdays,
Yes,
and
I didn't finish that episode. Who got voted off?
Brandon. Brandon got eliminated.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I kind of saw it coming. I was like, all right, so I think that guy's going.
Yeah.
All right, he was very confident.
Foolishly confident. There's still a lot of people that hey, as long as what's her name is still in the game. What's her name? Oh shoot, why can I'm in Big Brother mode. That's why I can't think of Survivor players. Your favorite player this season,
Carolyn.
I will be hoping for her to win this
Me
season.
too. Yes,
her and Jam Jam,
and maybe Carson's gastral distress will improve.
Peanut
I hope
butter
that
and
for
jelly
him.
is a hell of a drug, folks.
That's right.
It's a hell of a drug.
Especially when you're
if you haven't eaten like real food for a
For, like-
lengthy period of time, and then you eat something like peanut butter and jelly, dude, you are
especially the
messing-
jelly. The
you're
peanut butter would
messing
be
with yourself.
the peanut butter would be okay. The jelly would be rough because the jelly is just like pure sugar. You know,
Pure sugar, but we don't even know if it's like processed jelly. Like what type of
Right.
jelly? Is it like the real like fruit jelly, or is it like
jam.
you know?
Is it
yeah.
jam? Is it they're different things?
Yeah.
The jelly and the jam. We always say PB and J as if it's jelly, but it's usually jam
Yeah.
that they give you, and that's got the pectin in it. And then no, that's not good.
Oh, see, I typically stick to the real fruit equivalent. Light on the jelly, on the jam, heavy on the peanut butter.
Yeah, the peanut butter is the way to go. I mean, it's got the most protein you would get is from the
and then always drink it with something that I usually drink it with milk or something, because it's always when I see them eat it dry, I'm like, no, you're doing it wrong. Anyways, a little bit of cleanup. Lakiki like to come on our podcast. That is very nice. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But thank you for joining us. Everyone who was in the comments on Twitch and on YouTube, greatly appreciated you watching us. But now it's time for me to kiss some babies, do a little advertisements about our shows, because at the Super Mario Brothers podcast, kind of mentioned we do reality television. We also do Marvel movies. So our next Marvel movie that we're going to be doing is going to be Guardians of the Galaxy. So that is going to be in May. Still haven't figured out when we're going to actually do that. But stay tuned. But we're a part of a network of shows. I pressed the wrong button. United Federation of Podcasts. That's what I meant to press. And on our network, we have a variety of shows of content that you can watch, including KBBBL, which is our Simpsons recap show. Usually on Fridays, you have Baker and Francis joining Davan to recap The Simpsons. I think 2 weeks ago they did Dancing Homer, and come Friday they'll have another episode, brand spanking new episode. Davin is also on a show, X-Men the animated X-Men X-rated, the X-Men animated review show. He does it with Andre Mayette, where they recap episodes from the X-Men animated Fox show, and whenever it gets released, the X-Men 97 show. Andre Mayette has his own podcast called the Graphic Histories Podcast, where he does interviews with actors or artists or writers and general people of interest. He did one recently. I forget who. I'm terrible at indicating who guests are. But Andre, that show is a great show. You should check it out,
Mhm.
definitely. Graphic History. On Wednesdays, you have the Hellbound podcast with Alex Blackburn and Michael Chan, YTV's own Michael Chan
That's right.
from the Popularity Papers. Should definitely check it out. Mondays, 6:30 or 6 o'clock. I have a DVR, so I never check the time. So check it out, watch it. It's also on Stack TV, uh, Popularity Papers. Then you have the newest show to the network, Eamon on Track, where Eamon and a guest uh, recaps an album and kind of discusses track by track stuff about it. The first episode was about, I think, the 2 disc special edition of Hamilton.
Mhm.
And the second episode was with Davan about, I think it's Robert Jackson.
Robert Johnson.
Robert Johnson, man. But if you're in Russia, I'm sorry. Yeah, currently blocked due to copyright reasons. We also have a debate show called Trivial Debates, where one guest host will get 3 guest debaters and they will debate on specific subjects in a competition. Our last episode was in April. It was a wrestling theme where I competed against Jason and Andre Mayette. Great episode. You should definitely check it out. The host was the world mind Chris Murphy. And speaking of the world mind himself, you have Hold Up, a movie podcast, which happens every second Wednesday, where David and Chris Murphy, the world mind, review 3 movies, 2 pre-2000s, 1 post-2000s, and decide if they hold up. The next episode is on Heist, where I will be guest starring. And the movies we'll be doing is 1965's The Pink Panther, 1998's Out of Sight, and 2015's Victoria. So
Mhm.
check us out on Wednesday. And last, certainly but not least, is Live Long and Podcast, our Star Trek podcast channel, which has reviews on episodes, deep dives, debates, stuff on swag and purchases for Star Trek content and reviews. Tonight was the Star Trek Picard finale, episode 10. Called The Last Generation, which is our members of our team are reviewing that. On Mondays, we do Enterprise, and on Tuesdays, we do D Space Nine, Star Trek, and D Space Nine at 9. A little bit of a hiatus, but I believe next episode is going to be on Tuesday. We also do radio theater where we take old scripts and we present it as a radio show. We also did a special one. We did it on comic book series for Lower Decks. It was awesome in March. The live version is still available. You should check it out. The completed version is still in the works. We're actually 1 show behind, so it's going to be a while until that one comes out, but definitely worth a listen to. So that's it. That's all of the shows. I didn't
Mhm.
miss anyone. Nope.
I think so.
Um, Thank you for joining us tonight. Uh, Sorry, went a little bit over an hour, but you know, we do what we can. Uh, on behalf of myself, Jeff, thank you once again for joining us.
You're welcome.
And that's it for the Super Mater Brothers. Take care and have a good night.